here read lips, they know everything's going on. They never sweep the room for electronic equipment. No one sweeps. This is what flags. I mean, I can't begin to tell everybody how stupid you are because we pretend that we know what we're doing. But I could have very well left it. I have one too. I could have very easily planted it anywhere in the room. Anywhere. You know? But I don't. Not me. But what they're discussing in there is we're already gonna know. But what we don't know is what each one of them says about how they feel about the rule or not. How they're gonna go for it or against it. They all know how they feel about the rule.
And you say just simple words, you're like, oh, I know what she's talking about. Okay.
Sounds like you're more familiar with it than
Yes, hi. Nice to meet you. I don't know anything about and watch.
I've seen you a few of their Facebook pages, yeah.
Oh, that okay. Website also.
You haven't been like active, proactive, like I think city council.
Thank you. Thanks.
Is he your counsel? What's your different Jay was mine, but I thought it looked at that, now it's. Yeah. I really wonder about actually going to executive session is that no HRS, I know personnel matters is important, but procedural. Yeah, I don't think that's even considered.
Gosh, let me see here. I might even have some handouts. I'm with Occupy Hawaii.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the channel that it's on.
Okay.
And actually, that's not it. You just search like Hawaii ethics, you know,
So that
it should come up.
Okay.
Yeah, I try and do pretty good tags. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is about you. This is not today.
I understand, yeah.
But on the top is all my links, okay?
Okay, great.
We
Thank
have,
you.
see, that's my email and the YouTube right there. If you just search for Occupy Hawaii. And then once you find the channel, there'll be a blue words that says Occupy Hawaii. If you click on that, it'll take you right to the channel and you can see all the videos that are
Have you
uploaded.
ever thought of sharing some?
His is better quality.
It must be here.
That's true. That's why I'm here.
I mean, I was looking over
Because
your
nobody's
shoulder.
recording this.
I was looking, we really need a local public station. I lived on Guam where we had probably less population.
Yeah.
Or the same. We had a couple police stations, and they were at every conceivable.
I know. Well,
Just to
usually
fill
this
in
one
the-
is on public access, but not
Not
this
these,
kind of
no, I
thing.
asked.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, will you be here for the next meeting?
I think so.
I won't, so that'll be when they really decide it.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Hi. I'm so sorry. Oh, thanks to you. I feel like upset. Keep your chin out.
Got him. Yep. There you go. Go tell him.
Letter dated 8/31/2012 to the Board of Ethics from the State Office of Elections, as well as a superintendent response. After, consulting with Board Council, we have a motion to accept and file these two communications. Okay, we have a motion to accept and file and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, now, good morning, Mr. Yagong. As you well know, board members, the letter does include a request to initiate an investigation to see if there are any violations into the County of Hawaii Board of Ethics Code. And before we move on, Mr. Yagong, I think we do have some questions for you, and I guess the first question I would have is what your role is in your daughter's campaign.
I'm a father.
Nothing more than that.
Well, obviously, in helping with a campaign that includes pounding signs, going door to door, supporting her in any way I can. You know, as she goes to forums or she has activities, I be part of that as well. Probably doing just what any other father would do with their child or their spouse or their relative would be part of the campaign.
With all your experience, I'm sure you've got a lot that you can share with her. Okay. Board members, you guys have any questions?
Can I ask you a quick question though, first of all, Mr. Chairman, if I could? Because I did look at the complaint that you folks received, and it talks about state HRS law that talks about being a precinct official. If a parent, someone that's running for office, if you have a parent that's that person would not or could not participate as a precinct official.
For the record, you're referring to HRS 11-72B.
Yeah. Yes. And let me just say this for the record. I was quite surprised to see that it's part of the the complaint, because never in the last 3 months or last 6 months or last 52 years that I've been alive have I ever stated that I would like to be a precinct official or work as a precinct official or to work at any capacity as a precinct official. Obviously, the rule is there for a very good reason. Obviously, because certainly you don't want to be part during election day at the precinct where voting is taking place. to have a relative work, certainly within that district or one of the precincts within that district. And not only would that be uncomfortable, I think, for the people that work there, but certainly, not an appropriate thing to do. So I understand why the rule is there, and I support it wholeheartedly. But I just want to state for the record, never have I said it privately or publicly or anywhere within the 52 years that I've been alive that I want to serve as a precinct official. So I'm not sure how that got in there or why there's sort of an insinuation that because I'm a parent that I would somehow become a precinct official.
I've got a question. Who hires the precinct officials?
That's all done by the county clerk's office.
County clerk's office. And council, the entire council oversees the county clerk's office.
The county clerk's office is part of the legislative branch, but in terms of elections, in terms of hiring of people, that is totally done under the auspices of the county clerk.
So they hire all the precinct officials?
Yeah, that's correct. Most of the precinct officials that we see there are people that have been doing it for quite some time. They come back year after year, year after year after year. So most of those folks are, I think they've been hired many years ago. But again, the point I want to make is that I've never asked or requested or wanted to be part of any precinct committee. And that seems to be the gist of the complaint. So I want to make sure I say it for the record. So.
Back to your daughter's campaign. So basically, other than being a father, just kind of being your #1 supporter and advisor on her political strategy and trying to help her succeed, essentially.
Well, if my daughter asked me a question, I certainly would take the time to give her advice.
Your vast experience.
And quite frankly, there's many candidates throughout the island that call and ask for advice on issues before the county council, and it's mainly just to get a point of view. So that's not something that's unusual.
Does she have any separate legal counsel for her campaign?
A legal counsel? No.
Board members, do you have any questions for Mr. Yagong? What's at stake here is essentially, Mr. Yagong is referring to it as a complaint. Just for the record, it's a correction. There is a request for this board to investigate further to see if there are any violations, specifically section 2-83, 2-84 of the County of Hawaii Board of Ethics. Taking the liberty to ask board counsel to draft a resolution spelling out our rules, procedures, and a resolution which would move this board forward and schedule an investigation to look into this further to see if there are any violations of section 2-83 and 2-84 per the request of the State Office of Elections.
And Mr. Dill, could I ask you specifically what points do you see at this point in time that would warrant such a need to move forward?
The fact that we don't exactly know what your capacity is in terms of your daughter's campaign, the allegations or the potential allegations that are set forth in this letter, also your role as the county council chair and the oversight of the county clerk's office and the Office of Elections for the County of Hawaii.
And what specifically is, again, the question, what specifically within that do you see as being a conflict or something that needs to be looked into? I just want to be clear as far as why this is being moved forward.
We don't have anything specific, and we need to know more and gather a little bit more information to ensure that there are no any ethical violations, or should there might be some. We need to conduct an investigation. That is my opinion.
Could I direct a question to the corporation counsel?
Could I finish first, please?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you. So what I'm trying to say is that we don't know, Mr. Yagong, And in order to get to the bottom of it, we would need to conduct an investigation. Right now, all we have is a request from the State Office of Elections asking us to investigate. And then there's a response from me, as the chairman of this board, essentially spelling out our rules and procedures. So that's where we're at. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for that opportunity, Chairman. Ms. Chen, is there a particular section of the code that has anything to do with the candidate that it would be illegal or unethical for a candidate to run for office or to seek election office if they have a parent that is an elected official? I can see, I want to try to see what's the nexus in terms of my involvement in I mean, she's my daughter, and if I wasn't elected as a chairperson, I mean, as a county council member, I would still be helping my daughter in running for election, whether I'm elected or not. So, is there something in there that maybe I'm not aware of that state that I cannot help my daughter in her campaign?
To answer your question, there is no specific provision, but I think what the board is looking at is your role in the election process, not specifically your daughter's campaign, but what is your role in the election process and whether or not that has any type of influence, I guess, over a candidate.
But the chairman has asked me several times about my daughters and my daughter's campaign, so obviously there's something there that either he feels or the board feels that there's an issue there. So I just wanted that clarified because the chairman had asked that, I think he asked that about 3 times about my daughter. So that's what I'm trying to ascertain. What is it exactly that?
Well, to echo what the council said is, being the county council chairman and oversight of the Office of Elections through the county clerk's office, there is potential for a conflict of interest. And that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. And I'm sorry you feel stated publicly that this is a silly distraction, but really all we're trying to do is to preserve the integrity of the democratic process in the best interest of the County of Hawaii voters, so that they have some shred of faith that their vote does count without being unduly tampered or messed with in a way that might be a conflict. So what we're trying to get to is the bottom of your role, oversight of the County of Hawaii Office of Elections, and if there's any conflict in your involvement with your daughter's campaign. It's more so your duties as council chair and oversight of the elections office that we're concerned. Right. Does that answer your question?
Can I make more comments if you don't mind?
Well, does
No,
that
thank
answer
you.
your question?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I appreciate your comments, Mr. Dill. It's just that, you know, when you have a situation like this, which obviously is going to be covered by the press, and a decision has been made to move forward, as a person that certainly has a stake in this, you know, I just want to get more clarification as to why. Hopefully you're not offended by my questions. I just want to make sure that I understand why is it that the board is asking to move forward. If you want some clarification in regards to anything to do with my role with the elections, I'd be very happy to answer those questions for you. But I just wanted to make sure that when I leave today, at the very least, you know, what we do ascertain as part of the record is when you take a look at what was brought forward as a complaint by the state election office, or at least a pass-through by the state election office, it talks about myself being a precinct official, you know, serving in that role or that capacity. I want to make sure that that is completely stricken. That's number one. You know, number two, because you've asked me several times in regards to my relationship, I mean, my role with my daughter and her running for office, I just want to make absolutely clear that, you know, as far as my role as a council person or my role in dealing with elections has absolutely nothing to do.
So what you just said in terms of having a stake in this election, you're now saying you don't have a stake. You can have her read back the minutes, but you're talking about having the press here and having a stake in this election.
Well, as a person that's being complained about, I mean, it's my name on the docket, right?
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, can I just interrupt just so that, Mr. Yagong actually brought up a good point. Actually, there hasn't been a decision made as to what the board is gonna do. So I think he said, you guys have decided to move forward and, there has not, that decision has not been made. If the board, were to initiate, its own investigation or hold an informal hearing, your rules require, the board to, um, agree on that, and then a resolution has to be drafted so that the nature and scope of the informal hearing or the investigation is limited and everybody knows what it's about. So, so it's clear, nothing in your life here has been decided, and so.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
I'm sorry, I thought I heard the chair say that they were gonna move forward with a resolution, draft a resolution. Mary, did he not say that? I thought that's what I heard earlier.
Anyway, no, we haven't voted on anything, Mr. Yagong yet. What I did say is that I asked council to draft a resolution for discussion and for vote today. Okay? And what the draft resolution, which hasn't been voted on or decided on, essentially approves this board to move forward with an informal investigation to determine what your actions are, what your role is for the County Employee Office of Elections. And as the draft reads, also to identify or determine whether or not, with respect to your role as a County Employee Office of Elections, if there are any violations of the County Employee Code of Ethics, specifically sections 2-83 and 2-84.
Mr. Young, I think I'm gonna try to simplify it.
Thank you, sir.
As you sit before us right now, you're not the average father, so you can't come up and say, I'm doing what a father has to do. You're not the average father. You happen to be the chairman of the county council. That's the other side of the coin, all right? As chairman of the county council, you have a function within the electoral system, all right? We have to check into that to see if that function in the electoral system will in any way impact upon your daughter's candidacy. You see, that's the connection, the nexus. We have to see how they interact. That's what we're looking at, the interaction. So therefore, our viewpoint is, what is your role in the election function? Is it a figurehead role, or are you operational? That's what we have to find out. So far, I have had no discussion on that particular point. And that's what we have to determine. If you're functional, if you're actually operational in the election process, it may have some input to daughters running for office and the candidate that's running against her. You understand? So we have to be fair to both of them. So we ought to know how you can in any way impact that. And that's what we're looking for.
I appreciate that, and Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd like to ask Corporation Counsel whether or not your role as a chairman is a conflict in dealing with this issue. Because I think there's a conflict that you have as chairman of the Ethics Commission, being that I'm here, that I'll be here before you, and I'd like to have the Corporation Counsel make a determination if the chairman in dealing with this issue with me would be a conflict. And
Mr. Yagong, if you wanna elaborate further, but I really, I don't, at this point, see a conflict. This board is, the members are nominated by the mayor, approved by the council. They're empowered to interpret, the code of ethics, to, provide opinions to officers and employees. So I guess I don't understand.
then I'll elaborate. The reason I think that there may be a conflict with Mr. Dill in dealing with the issue before this body, because he is the chairman of the Ethics Commission, and for my respect, by the way. But I think that there is a conflict in due to the fact that when my office had an opening for an employee to work, we placed an ad in the paper for an employee to work for my office. Mr. John Dill, as chairman of the Ethics Commission, called my office, called me up personally to ask me to hire his brother.
Oh, wait a second.
And
Can I object to this, because this is
No.
an event that I cannot even recall, and I don't even
And Mr.
why
Dill,
I
if you
recommend my brother.
Mr.
Do you
Dill,
have
if you
any
can't
evidence to
recall,
this?
if you can't recall this, Mr. Dill, then you should not be sitting as chairman of the ethics commission. You called because your brother, you called me,
When was
you
this?
asked me,
You provide a date?
we'll provide you with that, sir. But I'm
Can you
just asking,
provide a transcript
I'm
of that?
asking the
Can
corporation
you answer
counsel.
my question? Can you provide a transcript of that conversation?
You're denying this, Mr. Dill? Are
Can
you,
you
are
answer
you,
the question?
are you denying this? Cause I will put
Alright,
you,
look,
are you
I'm gonna-
denying this?
Look, I'm gonna cut you off now, alright?
Are you
From
denying
here,
this,
at
Mr.
point-
Dill?
From this point, yes, I'm denying
Oh,
it.
then you're gonna be in more ethical trouble than anyone else that ever
Okay,
come before the
Mr.
ethics
Yagong.
commission.
Mr. Yagong, may I point you to, section 125 of the rules of procedure of this body? It says that if you feel as if anybody on this body may be biased or prejudiced against you in any manner, if you can file an affidavit stating so, and we will take that up. All right?
So would you rule on that, Deputy?
No, I don't rule on it, the board rules on it. So, Judge Henricks has cited the proper provision, it's 1.15.
Let's make it just for the record, and I would ask that Mr. Dill be recused from dealing with this issue because I believe that there's a tremendous conflict on his part.
Chairman Dill, Jamae Kawauchi, Board County Clerk, I would also like to make a disclosure to a possible conflict of interest on behalf of the Chairperson John Dill of this Ethics Commission. In July of this year, you requested that I be removed from my office and that our office be shut down and placed under the control of the State Attorney General's office or the U.S. Attorney General's office. So the question that I have is, if you're going to ask Mr. Yagong about his operational relationship to the elections office, what is your operational relationship? Because that was not a matter that was brought before this commission. It was done personally by you, without on county letterhead, on elections commission letterhead, based upon communications that you had with persons that you did not identify. My understanding is that those offices that you requested to take over the elections office, based on a performance audit, an audit of a voter registry that I performed, which has been in the process of being investigated. Hawaii County Police has just announced that it's being investigated. The open investigation was announced yesterday. A completely legitimate process, which is being investigated properly by,
Can you get to your point, please?
Well, my point is, you have an ethics problem, is what I think you've got, because you're trying to get into the operations of our office.
I wrote a letter requesting that others look into the Office of Elections as a private citizen because of the concerns that were surfacing by the public at large and the elections, okay? I'm a voter, I'm a registered voter. If you can maybe double check that, make sure that's the truth, okay? And that has nothing to do with you, it has nothing to do with Mr. Yagong or the letter and the investigation that was requested by the county, the State Office of Elections.
Well, this
Now, hold on, we have something on the table right now, Mr. Henricks.
Yes, as I stated, if you have a quandary about him sitting here, either one of you, according to our rules, you must file an affidavit before this board stating that quandary, why you feel he should not sit.
I will do so.
Okay, wait a minute, let me finish. And the board at that time will take it up as a matter on the agenda between the rest of the three of us, and we will decide whether you have improperly challenged him as a bias and prejudice, all right?
Okay, so at this point, what I'll do is, I'll
Mr.
cut off any,
Mr.
hold
Dill?
on, I'm done.
Mr. Dill?
At this point, what I'll do is, limit the communications now between this board and any further potential, actions based on this request by the State Office of Elections. Do we have any comments?
Yes.
To this board?
I move at this time we continue this particular issue until he has an opportunity to file his affidavit.
Counsel, what are the rules requiring the timing on the affidavit?
It's not specific as to timing.
Mr. Henricks, can I address you for a second?
Hold on, wait a second.
Yeah, no time, so.
Okay, so what's the next process then? Ms. Kawauchi or Mr. Yagong will file an affidavit with this board, right? Which will be discussed at the next meeting?
Yeah, that would be the normal procedure.
Alright. So do you guys have any problem with continuing this then?
I have no problem continuing this
But not only we can't move forward at this point if that issue is still there, so because until we decide whether he's qualified or not, we cannot go forward.
Yeah, the only point I wanted to make, Mr. Mr. Henricks, was this, I think you made a very good point when you said,
All right,
Mr.
so why don't we
Yagong,
move forward with the vote
you're
on
not
this?
just
Why don't we-
another
I'm
father.
done, okay?
Same thing with
I
Mr. Dill,
told
he's
you.
the chairman of the Ethics Commission.
Stand on. I said I'm limiting the discussion right now between the board, okay? You still not speak unless spoken to.
He looked at me.
Oh, he
and
looked
told
at
me
you,
to
did he speak to you? Okay, stop, all right, stop. Okay, so this board, do we have any further discussion on the further actions of this? We'll continue it? If we are gonna continue it, can we get a motion and then maybe
I made
discuss?
a motion.
Second that.
Okay? Do we have any discussion between the board? All right, so on the table, we have a motion to continue further proceedings with communication dated 8/31 and a corresponding 9/5 response to next month's meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. Moving on, new business. Item 5A, petition number 2012-02, initial review of petition alleging that a county officer, in light of strong questionable appearance to the public, should have recused himself from voting. One item of business for this on the board, the petitioner did request a closed hearing for this. Mr. Kern, you mind coming up?
I left him.
Let you know that the petitioner did request a closed hearing on this, just in an effort to keep their names off the record. Do you have any objections to holding a closed hearing for this petition?
Could you elaborate on what a closed hearing means?
It would mean that, the matter is closed to the public and only the board, the petitioner, and the respondents would be present. Right now, your petition is set for an initial review, so that means the board has to decide whether or not it has enough information, as is, whether or not it wants to proceed to the either an informal or a formal hearing, or whether it wants to dismiss the petition. So those are the board's options today. I have spoken with the petitioners yesterday, and they did relate to me that they were not coming today because they did not want their identities known, and they expressed safety concerns and asked whether or not the board would consider holding the matter in closed session. And I just said I'd relay that information to the board. Certainly, if this matter goes for a formal type proceeding, then you have you as a respondent can ask for a closed hearing, but you also have the right to confront and cross-examine and present evidence and all of that. So it gets a little bit more involved.
And as far as the request for a closed hearing now, do I still get to participate?
Oh yes, you would be here.
I leave that up to the board's decision. I have no objection either way.
So essentially what we're doing is responding to the request of the petitioners. If the respondent doesn't have any objections, then the board can decide whether to move forward as a closed hearing or open hearing. Discussion, board members? Preference either way? Preference either way?
I still think that we want to close hearing then.
Okay. Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second to carry forward the closed hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, so what we'll do, you can stick around, everybody else, you can step out while we discuss our initial review of this petition.
Do you think that I can credit you if you put it on my display?
Absolutely. I'll tell you what. If they're gonna kick us out for a few minutes, I'll upload it to YouTube right now. Okay, folks, we're kicked out again. Pause.
Let me just give you my address. I gotta go teach class right now in Pahoa, so I'll just give you my info.